Step into the paranormal with Ernie Atwell and David Seiler, brought to you by Paranormal Inc., right here on WLFE DB Radio.
Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 41 of Step Into the... Nope, 41.
I know.
That's when
I did it on purpose. I like getting him. It don't take much to confuse Dave.
See, it's episode 41. What's up, y'all? Hey, we got a special show this time. Guys, thank you for joining us. Please share this. This is an important episode. It's about a very, very important thing that's near and dear to our hearts, and we have two very special guests.
The time has arrived.
Definitely.
A year in the making.
Yep. And it's taken a lot out of this young lady and this young man, but we have, let me get that going, and we're going to get her in, and we're going to get him in. Welcome to the show, Tori.
Thank you.
From the Paranormal Relief Project and Paranormal Help Desk. And Mr. Josh Hurd from the G Crew and owner and proprietor of Malvern Manor.
What's up?
Love it.
Where we will be in a few short days.
Next Saturday for the Paranormal Relief Project.
Yes.
I love it.
For those of you who don't know what this is, this young lady right here, that way. That's Ernie. She actually, a little over a year ago, came up with an idea due to the pandemic. And it was all the first responders, doctors, nurses, police officers, firefighters, EMTs, paramedics, supporting staff that have never been on a ghost hunt should go on one at no charge.
Mm-hmm.
And it started with one little place and then another and another. How many total places do we have at this point, Tori?
We have, I believe, 25.
25 locations.
I believe.
And the good part is that everything's going to be investigated simultaneously.
At the
same date, same time.
Mm-hmm. I love it. And there's still lots of tickets.
What's that?
There's still lots of tickets.
You mean for the various locations, right?
Yes.
Because where the four of us are sold out, right?
It's sold out. Yep.
Wow.
They sold out in 12 hours.
I knew Malvern would go quick. I mean, because that was one of our bucket lists locations to investigate anyway. And then for us to be a part of this and being friends with you and with Josh, it was like, wow, it just came together.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
So, it really did.
I am beyond, you don't want to, I'm like more than a kid at Christmas time. I'm like, geek. I can't wait to get on a plane. I've already packed my bags.
Hell yeah.
I love it.
I love it. What's the weather like up there today? Or out there? Or
that way.
What's the weather that way today?
Over here in Malvern?
Yeah.
We are at a balmy 75 degrees.
We're much
perfect.
the same.
It's beautiful out here.
Oh, look, I was sharing us out. That's what I was doing.
That's what I was just doing too.
Hopefully it stays that way, man. It would be nice to have some nice weather while we're up there.
That'd be perfect.
Oh,
Absolutely.
definitely.
It's 76 here.
Josh, how did because everyone that knows you knows everything you do and everything you've done and everything you're involved with. But how did you get involved with Malvern Manor?
It was kind of like, so I was filming my first documentary film at this place here in Malvern called the Classic Cafe. I didn't realize that there was a bar attached to the joint, and so with noise contamination and all that, we really could not investigate. So night one of filming A Brush with Evil was completely screwed, right? Mm-hmm. And I go outside, and there was a guy out there, and he was like, "What's with all the cameras?" You know what I mean? I'm like, "Oh crap!" Like this guy's gonna think that I'm caca duty crap crazy, or he's going to think that this is kind of cool, right? And luckily, he thought this was kind of cool. He doesn't believe in the paranormal at all. In fact, he
I love those people.
Yeah, like he always tries to, explain everything away. However, he did say that there was this one building that he owned that, there was a lot of weird things that happened. He couldn't really explain away. He went into the history of this place saying that it was, a hotel, and then it used to be a nursing home. And then in the 70s became a group home for the mentally handicapped and all of that. He said the place is like 10,000 square feet. I'm like, Jesus, like, where is this place? He's like, oh, it's right there across the street. I'm like, pretty sure we just became best friends. You know what I mean? So he was like nice enough to let us in that night. So literally the first 10 minutes of A Brush with Evil is us stumbling upon this building that one day we would then call Malvern Manor, which is jacked up. So I've completely stopped believing in coincidence. It's almost like the building chose me, you know. It's very, very interesting.
Ed, you sound like me, Josh. I do not believe in coincidence.
Absolutely.
You know, for the greater good, everything somehow aligns if it's meant to be. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I would agree. Absolutely.
But we cannot wait to get there. I mean, you'll see the excitement when you meet us in person.
It's going to be fun, boys.
Tori.
In the comments, somebody read your book.
Oh, God. I am so sorry. I am very sorry, Facebook user, that you...
Apparently we've been shared out to like several hundred places at this point, so I don't know. Right now it's saying like 8 people in this stream, but when I go back and watch, every time I get a comment, I try to find where it came from, and there'll be like 10 people in that stream and 20 people over in that stream. So the metrics aren't really good, but we get a lot of hits, which is great.
That's Tori. I have so many questions for you now that we're under a week away. I remember when you contacted me, I was folding laundry and you was like, hey, can I run something past you? I have an idea.
Yeah.
And I knew when you told me what your plan was, I knew that it would snowball into this. I really did. If you remember me telling you that, I was like, because you were so nervous and I was so like excited because you were so excited. And I knew what this was going to become once the word got out. But what made you come up with this concept for this project?
Well, a lot of it was I'm an ER nurse. I'm sitting in my scrubs because I'm going to work here in a little bit. But I kind of tossed the idea around, which I talked to you, and you're a first responder as well. And a lot of the time, like, we see death a lot, but we never really get to see like what happens after that. And there's a lot of people that don't even know that exists. And then in the midst of COVID, I was one of those people that worked in the ER during COVID. I dealt with a lot of COVID patients, and they work hard. People in the hospitals, I mean, police officers, they do too. I mean, you guys are kind of like the first contact, police officers, EMS, fire department, that kind of thing. But it was a hard year. I mean, it was a really hard year. There was a lot of sadness, and like during the front of this pandemic, when it first came out, I remember there was like a lot of like lockdown. People weren't able to like go anywhere, and people were being separated from their families because they didn't know how this disease was being spread. They didn't know who they were putting at risk. So basically it was kind of like just basically a paranormal relief. Let's show them let's show them what it's all about. And I've had a lifelong interest in the paranormal. I've had the paranormal help desk for about 10 years, give or take. I do that on my own. I don't have anybody that works with me, and I find paranormal venues or paranormal teams to investigate the homes of people experiencing hauntings. And I do it worldwide and free of charge.
And we actually, like I told you the other day, we actually have a new venue added for next year's relief project.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, our friends Pam and Steve, they acquired a few months ago the historic 1912 Hoover House in Waynesboro, right outside Gettysburg. And Dave and I will be hosting an event there in July. We haven't been there yet. So it's going to be pretty exciting there. Anything around Gettysburg.
Yeah, anything.
You know, you've been to Gettysburg?
I've been to Gettysburg a couple times. Yeah.
That's right. We already had. That's right. I'm sorry, man. It's old age.
No, I get it, man. That place is amazing, though. It knocks my socks off every time I'm there, you know?
It's hard. Even if you go there, just say you go there to get something to eat, or, you know, you go up during the day to tour the battlefields.
Yeah.
you never leave there without scratching your head over something, and without even meaning to, without the intent of going there to investigate. You always come home with something, whether you were there for that or not. It's so amazing.
It's very true.
Well, that's what I tell when we do our seminars and things like that. As a paranormal investigator, I'm not here to show you a ghost. I'm here to show you something you can't explain. Yeah. If I can show you something you can't explain, then I've done my job.
I love it.
What Josh, how many, because I know the popularity of Malvern, on a normal year without all this lockdown crap and this and that, how many people would you estimate come through there in a year's time, like for the tours or investigations or what have you?
Thousands.
Wow.
It's gotta be. It's crazy. Yesterday we were doing this event in Omaha. It's called Haunticon, right? And it's just, vendors and paranormal enthusiasts. It was really cool. And I was fortunate enough, I got to speak in front of a crowd, and this crowd probably had 200 people or whatever. And I was blown away just by that, and it was crazy because I asked the question, how many of you have visited us at Malvern? And every hand was just like in the sky. And I was like, oh, wow. So I'm like, okay, well, apparently we don't have to talk about history of Malvern, right? Like, you've already heard my spiel, you know what I mean? So we could just talk about fun stuff now.
Now,
we don't have to talk about that. Yeah.
After people come up there to investigate, or groups or tours or whatever, do you have people contact you like days after and say, hey, we experienced this, or we experienced that, or you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a lot of weird photos. That happens. People sometimes are really cool about sharing like videos, pictures, whatever, after they get home and review and all that stuff. Yeah, it's really neat. Like, we also have a log over here, so if they want to write down any experiences that were noteworthy throughout the night before they leave, then there it is. It's pretty cool.
Right.
Pretty cool.
Is it mostly just like sporadic things happen, or do you ever come across where a few people that don't know each other may have been there on different nights experience the same thing?
We actually just had that not too long ago, really. So, I don't know. I'm very analytical when it comes to this, sometimes to a fault, right? But just, over the course of 1 month, there were 3 different teams that had then experienced the exact same thing. And it was all surrounding this spirit that was calling himself Jeff. I'm like, okay. Yeah. Tori, you've heard this, right? Yeah. Okay. So it was interesting though, because I was like, okay. And it was weird because they were saying things like, oh, well, Jeff said that he's new here. I'm like, well, how does that work? Right. And it was interesting to me because none of these teams knew each other, yet they were all going back to the same area of the house. Right. And they were all asking apparently the same battery of questions. Did you live here? Did you die here? Etc. Whatever. And it was always, my name is Jeff and I'm new here. And it wasn't until then I experienced that for myself that I was like, holy crap. Like, you know what I mean? Because I keep all this information again under my hat because I want to see if there's anything to it, Now,
I don't know how much you want to give away, before the event, but do you have what I like to refer to as resident spirits? Do you have a host of spirits that you feel reside there, or are there a lot, or is it like, for example, Dave and I, we hold events at this one location, and every time it's basically something different. We feel that it might be like some sort of portal where, people just, like in a revolving door. Yeah.
Right. It's kind of interesting because I would almost say that it's kind of the best of both worlds. Of course, we have our resident spirits. We have our regulars, the ones that you can walk into their room and pretty much experience the exact same thing almost every time. You know what I mean? You can have a conversation. You can do this, do that, whatever. It's really cool. But then again, you have assholes like Jeff, you know what I mean? And because Jeff is quite the prankster,
Who do you feel Jeff is?
I have no idea. That's just it. So like Jeff is the guy who is claiming responsibility for like locking people in the attic because that happens, right? And what's funny about it is this has now happened, God, half dozen times now, where I get a phone call in the middle of the night and they're like, "Hey, we're locked in the attic." I'm like, "Impossible. That's impossible." I go, "Because the attic door doesn't lock. So how are you locked in the attic?" And they're like, "No, man, we've been trying this door for 45 minutes. It won't open." I'm like, "Cop kick that door." You know what I mean? Like, freaking do something. And no, they're like, "No, we don't want to break your stuff, whatever." I always say the exact same thing, and this seems to work. If I say, "All right, I'm getting on my shoes, I'll be there in 10 minutes.
Right.
They're like, "Oh, never mind. The door just opened." It's almost like Jeff is hearing me and he's like, "Oh crap, Dad's coming." You know what I mean?
Hey, I just come up with an idea. Man, I'm calling you Jeff. I just came up with an idea, Josh.
Yeah, what's up?
During when Dave and I host investigations at different venues, we like to try different experiments and this or that. So I think what we should do, yourself and Dave and I, we should come up with an experiment where Tori is in the attic alone for at least 10 minutes. And let's see if Jeff locks her in.
Tori's been up in the attic. I don't know. Have you been by yourself then?
No.
Not yet.
No. I have a feeling that's going to change.
Yeah, it could. It'll be fine.
Tori, as far as the investigation is going to be, of course, during this relief project and everything, but as far as investigating itself, what are you most looking forward to or excited about as far as the investigation?
I'm excited to learn because I'm not an investigator. All of the stuff that I've ever done is internet based. I've only been to 3 haunted venues, like known haunted venues. I've been to the Brown Mansion in Coffeyville, Kansas. I've been to Missouri State Penitentiary in, I think it's Jefferson City, Missouri, maybe. And then Malvern Manor. Malvern Manor is definitely the one that I've been to the most, i.e. more than one time. But I'm looking forward to learning because I don't really know a lot about that investigation aspect of it. I'm not familiar with really equipment. Sorry, my dog. He's trying to get my attention. All beans. But I don't know. Like, I'm looking forward to learning and just having those experiences with you. I'm very curious about how you guys do it. I'm very curious about how Josh does it. I mean, I've seen Josh like at an event, and I didn't really get to spend that much time with him as far as like the investigation part. Like, I got to have good conversation with groups of people that were there. But I don't know. I'm just looking forward to that part of it. Just seeing how different it is.
I'm hoping that the majority of the guests that are participating that night, I hope they're new to all this.
Yes. I love newbies, especially when they get that first aha moment. Like, what the hell just happened? And did I really just see that?
It was funny. Like yesterday while I was at Haunticon, I bumped into a couple people. Actually, it's funny. This kid and I used to actually be on tour together when I was still in a band, and I hadn't seen him in 20 years. You know what I mean? So I'm like, dude, this is insane. And they're coming next weekend. And they love the paranormal stuff, yet they've never formally done an investigation. So they're really looking forward to all this. Right. I'm like, oh my God, this is going to be so cool.
That's
so cool.
This is a funny story, Josh. Last year, Dave and I were hosting an investigation at a house. It was an actual haunted house. And, it was in a neighborhood. So there was this couple that wanted to bring their friend, and she liked the paranormal, but she liked it on TV. She was actually kind of scared of it. So we're about ready to start, and a knock comes at the front door. Now we have the place after Dave and I arrive and open up and do our initial walkthrough. We lock the place down. As the guests arrive, we let them in and check them in.
Lock the doors that way nobody else can wander, especially the neighborhood it was in.
These 3 people knock on the door, and I open the door, and this lady's standing on the top step, and she's staring at me. And I just stared at her, and she didn't say anything. And she goes, "Oh, I'm sorry. I think we're at the wrong location." And I said, well, what are you looking for? And she goes, oh, my friends here are taking me to a haunted house.
Yeah, you're right.
Well, she thought it was a Halloween attraction style
dude.
house. They just, in order to get her to go, they said a haunted house.
Wow.
I was like, no, you're in the right place. So she comes in and we didn't say nothing. And she starts to kind of like look around and
for haunted shit. No,
you know, she sees people having a cup of coffee and getting equipment together. And she's like, oh shit, this is for real.
Yeah, she's like, where's the dude with the chainsaw? Like,
look, Josh,
I was waiting for the Scooby-Doo moment.
Yeah.
We're up in a bedroom and we're doing like a Phasma box session or something. And the majority of the guests are sitting around in a circle on the floor. And all she had with her was a little mag light. So she's sitting Indian style and she sets the mag light about 2 feet out in front of her. So now, like 20 minutes in, it's starting to ramp up a little bit. And all of a sudden, her mag light just rolled away. And she just went.
I thought she was going to go through the roof.
I put my light on and I looked at her and she looked at me and she went.
Later.
And that was the last you saw of her.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my goodness.
Oh man.
But hopefully we have some of those good moments at night, which I'm sure we will, because and I'm sure you agree with this, Josh. Dave and I are firm believers in, regarding of what type of spirit or whatever time period they're from or whatever, I think it's all based on the energy of the crowd for that event. You know what I mean? And it's just the way people come in.
Fill it with positive.
Yeah, that brings everything to life.
One of the seminars we did, I actually put a ringtone on my phone of this screaming, like just bloody murder screaming. And Mike King was there with us. And I said, and he was off stage before we brought him in. I'm like, dude, call my cell phone just so I start speaking. So I started addressing the crowd. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the show. Blah, 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 blah. Ah! Ah! People jumped up like they were going to be out of there. And I'm like, oh, sorry, Paul, excuse me. It broke the ice. It was hysterical.
Yeah.
Right after that, you start hearing bumps and bangs and dings and right upstairs. It just, the energy pumped up and people were like just laughing at that point. And then they're like, oh, wow, this is really cool.
That's so great. Oh my God, I love it.
I really hope that like Malvern Manor really shows its ass while you guys are there.
Cool.
I think it will. I think it will. You know, I do. I think it will. I think this is really going to, you know, because also too, because of the cause behind everything.
Right.
You know what I mean? And you don't realize, like we were speaking with Scott Porter about this as far as the pandemic and the virus, and you don't really know what kind of effect that's had on everything as well. You know what I mean? And in whatever way you believe or whatever you believe in, you know, it could have affected the way
their energy. I mean, they're probably excited to get some energy back.
Yeah. Josh, how old is Malvern?
Oh my God. Like the building itself?
Yeah.
Mid 1800s.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's seen some its share.
Yeah. How many floors is it?
So we have one main level, and then you have the second floor, and then you have two wings upstairs. Obviously, the second floor has two wings, and then you have the attic as well. Now we also have two basements as well. But it's like 10,000 square feet of paranormal playground. That's what you're in for.
Wow.
So like,
I always love this question right here.
What was the question? I didn't see it. Oh, actually, I know for a fact they do. I know for a fact they do. I walked around because obviously when COVID first hit, we had a lot of people not cancel, but they pushed their dates back, right? Which is fine. I don't care. And I would walk around Malvern because I'm here every day anyway. And I would ask, do you guys know why people aren't coming to visit you as often? COVID.
Really?
It was very intelligent responses, which is also interesting too, because it's like, how do you know? Like, how are you privy to this information, right?
And it's interesting because this is kind of like my favorite part about the whole thing is that Malvern Manor had an outbreak of its own.
They did, where people had to be quarantined to this very building. Back in 1910, back in 1910, there was an outbreak of diphtheria in December, which came from the railroad, but then ultimately this being the place to be and the place to stay in the area, this building was considered ground zero for this diphtheria outbreak. Dozens of people had to be quarantined here, and many people lost their lives. One of them actually being the 12-year-old daughter of the owner, William Stamper, who was the owner of this building at that time. She had to be quarantined to this building where she sadly lost her life. December 31st of 1910.
Wow.
Very interesting stuff.
So actually, this whole pandemic we've been going through, this might kind of energize things.
It might energize
very reminiscent. Absolutely.
Yes. Wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I've got a new recorder too. It's actually, you can hear a bug pass gas on it.
Wow.
At 100 yards.
This guy's always by.
I'm a geek.
I love
it.
Technology, man.
Yeah. So I mean, it's he's the old school guy. He'll use candles and baby powder, and I'll use laser grids and strobes and.
I also use the candles and baby powder for investigating as well.
Not just to pamper myself after a hard day.
Here's the important question, man. Where is there good to go to eat up that way, Josh?
That's my question.
Bro, I've got 2 really good places to eat that would take you less than 30 seconds to walk to either of them. It's perfect.
And guess what, Ernie?
What?
They have hamburgers.
Oh,
they do got some burgers.
That's I like cheeseburgers and pizza. I could if we have an outbreak while we're there and I get quarantined to Malvern Manor for the next month, all I need is cheeseburgers and pizza.
I love it. We can make it happen.
I eat anything but Brussels sprouts. That's the only thing I don't eat.
I love Brussels sprouts, actually.
Tori, tell everyone where else we're going to pay a visit to while Dave and I are in that side of the country.
We are going to hit up the Villisca Axe Murder House.
I can't wait.
I can't.
I'm excited.
For those who are watching, if you follow Step Into the Paranormal, we are going to be going live on Step Into the Paranormal during that investigation. So Christy says, you're easy, Ernie. Are you referring to the food or just Ernie?
But you know what? One thing to change the channel for a minute. What's really cool about Villisca, okay, now I've never been there, but you don't even have to know what paranormal is. And you probably heard of the Villisca House.
True.
Because I've seen so many shows on what happened up there, and it was on like crime dramas and ID chat or whatever that stuff is. You know what I mean? It has so much more of a reach. To the public than the paranormal.
It's not just paranormal. It's
and to be quite honest, I didn't know until recently that they even had paranormal activity there. I mean, I often wondered and said to myself, "Oh man, I bet that place is haunted based on what happened." But I really never knew that they did tours or had investigations or nothing like that.
Yeah.
Have you been there, Josh?
Numerous times.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's only 40 miles away from him.
Yeah, I mean, it's super close. Johnny's one of my best friends. You know what I mean?
Awesome.
So, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, we haven't. I mean, we're familiar with Johnny, of course, but we haven't had the pleasure of meeting him yet. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, he's good stuff. Good
stuff.
Man, man.
It's going to be an awesome weekend.
Yeah.
Do you want to hear some stuff that's going to blow your mind?
Go ahead.
Go for it.
Well, this is kind of a Josh area. But Villisca and Malvern are only, 30 minutes from each other?
Give or take, yeah. Absolutely.
And why don't you, I'll let you tell them, Josh. So, you know where I'm going with this.
I do. So Johnny and I are, again, really good friends. And you know how you are with your buddies. You have those 3 a.m. drunk conversations. You know what I mean? That's the best conversations ever. And I remember sitting there talking with Johnny in this house, right? And he was saying, isn't it possible that the killer or killers that did the Villisca stuff stayed here at the Cottage Hotel, what we now call Malvern Manor, a night or two before or after? He goes, what if the murders were even plotted here? Right here in this wall, right here. And that's some like crazy stuff to like kick around, right? But you have the train tracks 200 yards out the front door, and they're going to take you straight into Villisca, which is also how they said the killer, moved around, right?
Think about it. That makes sense because 40 miles back then was like a day's ride.
It was kind of a trek. Yeah, sure.
Right. That's really cool.
It's crazy.
Wow.
Right. So we don't know. Now, there is a crazy connection between the two locations. We have no idea. Like I promise you, when you're here, you will get EVPs that will reference Villisca. And while you're in Villisca, you will get EVPs that are referencing this building. Promise.
That's one of the experiments
that's cool.
Ernie and I do is we go into two separate rooms. He'll put a SB7 on his head, and I'll start with questions, and he'll be like just writing down the answers as I'm saying the questions, and then we'll feed it back.
Yep.
And we've come up with a lot of good. That would be cool to do in two separate locations. We have to do that another day. That would be pretty cool.
Yeah. That's crazy though, man. I never really thought of that, but I didn't realize they were that close together.
It's weird, man.
Now, or going back to like when both locations were constructed, are they the same
time frame?
I'm pretty positive. I have no idea. This building probably was, probably similar for sure. Like I know this building was in full swing, like the place to be in the area back in 1912, when the Villisca axe murders actually happened.
Right.
So yeah, like it's very feasible.
Wow. Josh, when Malvern was built, what was the first thing that it was?
It was a hotel primarily. That's primarily it was its purpose, and it ran as such all the way up till the 1950s. So it had a really good run there. Now, I will say, like going through history and all of that stuff, like the amount of owners that came in to be and then left and then got it back and then left again, like it's super weird. It was almost like they were losing it in a poker match. Like it's super weird, man. So yeah, tons of owners.
Yeah, that was very common back then too.
Yeah, for sure.
To lose stuff like that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Wow.
Hey, Josh. I know, and the only reason why I know this is because I've heard you talk about it on other things. How many deaths have taken place at the manor?
I think at this point right now, as far as what we have researched and all of that, it's 187 that we know of right now. Death on property.
Wow.
Dude.
Right. Now, I promise there's more. That's the bitch of it, is I promise you there's more. But that's what we know right now.
Yeah, I mean, if you can account for 187, you probably more double that with that's not unaccounted for.
Possibly. Now, you also take into consideration that countless suicides and things like that. Well, this place was a hotel, especially back at like turn of the century type stuff, But then, when it's back in 1956, when they put on like the nursing home wing and this building is functioning as a nursing home, I mean, people would expire all the time. I mean, that's almost expected of you, when you're in a nursing home, right? So that kind of would account for numerous deaths, sure. But then you also have some very suspect things that were going on later in life as well, too.
Do you remember your first experience there? What it was?
Yeah, I do. I was upstairs. It was that night that we were filming. I was upstairs. I had the cameraman and another investigator with me, and we heard walking coming down the steps, which is crap because this was a closed set and you don't do that. You know what I mean? Like nobody in or out. You don't do that unless somebody's dying. Okay.
Right.
So for somebody to be walking down the hallway, that was an impossibility. So I was a little upset. I walked out and nobody's coming down the hallway at all. Like nobody was walking down the hallway. However, it was very distinct footfalls coming towards me, right? Coming towards this direction, and nobody was there at all. It was so active that night. Like we had experienced more that night than we had in the last 2 years of investigating. It was that impressive. That's ultimately why I wanted the place.
Since Dave and I have never been there, and what do you suggest? Like, while we're all investigating Saturday night, what do you suggest equipment wise that we should use? Do you think would be best?
K2 meters, Mel meters, REM pods apparently have been super active lately. My God, I don't even know. It's crazy. So yeah, I mean, bring it all.
Has anybody brought an EDI yet?
I have an EDI that I've been playing around with for sure. Absolutely. Okay. And I love to correlate data, and that's what was so appealing about the EDI to me, is being able to now graph out data. So,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep. I just got it. I've been playing with it here, and I'll just put it on a table, sit down, and walk away, and it's just me. And I'll graph it out afterward, and it's like, oh my God, because I'll get activity on the REM and in the MEL, and the EDI does nothing. Then you plug it in, it's all of a sudden like, where did that just come from?
It's ridiculous, man.
Yeah.
It's so
well,
cool.
You remember, Josh, the last time you were on an episode, you remember we had that explosion in Tatestown.
Yeah. It was nuts.
Tori, that was
nuts.
Craziest. We're sitting here, and right here is a window, and we can see what the weather is. So Dave and we bring Josh in. We're sitting here talking, and all of a sudden, it sounded like the SWAT team kicked Dave's front door.
Yeah,
and he ran upstairs, and it was nothing except the cabinet doors were open again.
And you can actually hear me on the stream going, Ernie, the damn cabinet door's opened again.
Yeah, that was actually one of my favorite episodes, and I've watched it several times because the jokes that ensued after were amazing.
It was crazy, man.
Well, that's what we were talking about before we actually started the show. For those that didn't watch, if you hit our YouTube channel, I actually put, because Ernie finally talked me into, I was having a whole bunch of weird activity. I put a camera up looking in my kitchen, and then another camera up facing that camera so you could see what was going on. You actually see me stand up. I walk down my hallway. My kitchen's over there. And you see that there's no shenanigans, nobody else there. And just the cabinet door goes right in the camera. And I come back, sit down, and went, I was so excited. I got the camera.
I love it.
That's one thing you're going to learn about Dave, man. He gets excited very easy.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I hope lots of stuff happens for you guys.
I think it's going to, just the energy level. Like I said, because of the fact of why we're there in the first place. Yeah. And then more than likely, a lot of the people in attendance are going to be new to this, other than what they see on TV. So I think, but with the combination of it, it's going to turn out.
Now, Josh, has anybody used the Phasma box there?
Yeah, a few times for sure. And then I use my what's that?
Getting any good responses off of them?
It seems to be, sure. And I've been using my I use my Geoport pretty much every day here. Right. And so yeah, it's a great time, man.
We used a Geoport. Dave and I and Dan Class from Hinsdale House. We ran an investigation at McFarland House in West Virginia, and that Geoport, man, that's really cool. Yeah, that's really nice.
It's fun.
Something that's really fun is I sent the guest list over to Josh because we have 30 people, and Josh does not recognize any of the names on there, so they're all new to the manor.
Yeah, I'm really hoping that most of them have never done an investigation, because those are the people I really want them to see.
Yeah,
there really is something there, and I'm not saying that's a ghost. I'm saying there's something there, and if you can't explain it, I use Occam's razor. Cut everything else away, and what's left, no matter how improbable, must be the truth.
But the thing is, and if they are new to the game, just the fact that they're coming
and their
energy shows they're intrigued by something.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So hopefully we can,
the energy that's going to be there is going to be just phenomenal.
The thing I'm looking forward to, though, is normally when we travel and we do things, it's so fast paced, and this trip isn't.
Correct.
We get in Thursday, we have nothing to do till Friday afternoon.
You get to breathe, bro. You get to breathe a little bit, right?
Yeah, we can
pump the brakes. Yes,
we got 24 hours upon arrival until we hook up with Johnny at Villisca.
Yep.
And then after that, I'm sure we'll go out to eat or whatever. And then we don't have nothing for another 24 hours. So it's nice and, instead of being stressed out on, because like
get in, set up, investigate, get out, unpack.
It doesn't take much to stress me out, especially with this whole flying thing on my mind. And it's just
I've been sending him crash videos just for giggles too.
Jesus Christ. Ernie, I got a question for you though, bro. Do you drink alcohol at all?
No.
Okay. I was just curious.
He's actually going to have a Bloody Mary. It's my tradition before I get on flight.
Like usually that's what I do before I get on a plane is I'll take a couple shots of Jack, you know what I mean? And just like then just cruise on the plane.
A virgin Bloody Mary.
Yeah.
Whatever that is.
Yeah, that we'll get them. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't
I tell you what I do though, Ernie, in all honesty, bro. Like I don't really enjoy flying. I fly all the time, but I don't enjoy it at all. But I've read every bit of statistic I possibly can, right?
Mm-hmm.
You start like once that plane, you'll feel that thing take off. You know what I'm saying? Just count to 30. You count to 30, your problems are over, bro. Like anything that could go wrong, it's the first 30 seconds. Other than that, bro, you're going to have a smooth flight. It's going to be good.
Yeah, I love the takeoff and landing. Other than that, I'm bored.
I love the landing part because I'm just getting closer to the freaking ground,
I was coming in when I was actually in the military. We were coming into O'Hare. Or no, we were coming into somewhere in Texas. And as we were coming down, it was during 9/11 when you saw the aircraft, the military aircraft coming down. And all of a sudden, we're literally about to touch and the engines like lit up. And all of a sudden we start going back up. We were inches away from touching down. And then you hear, this is the captain speaking. My apologies to you. There was an aircraft taking off when it should not have been.
Right.
Oops.
Oh my God.
Somebody got fired.
I mean, it's hard for me to comment on flying because I've never flown, but I can't say, well, I'm scared to crash or I'm scared of it. It's a phobia, man.
Sure.
I think it's a combination of the flying, the fear of heights. And when you put that all together, it's just, like
I'm the exact same, bro. I'm the exact same as you. I will say, like the one cool thing is like I hate it when the plane, turns. You can't really feel it. I mean, you know what I mean? But I don't like to look at it while it's happening.
Right.
I don't like that. But when you're up in the sky, bro, and you flip open that window and you look down, it's freaking gorgeous. It is so cool.
Now, cool. I was coming home from Norfolk, Virginia, when I was in the Navy to here in Maryland. And do you remember a company called Henson Airlines? Basically, it was a box with strap some wings to it, and that's the airplane. So it held like 12 or 15 people. They were little hops. We were flying in, and we got to our top cruising altitude, and you could actually see the cockpit and the pilots. That's how small this damn aircraft was. And as we were coming in, we were going through some clouds, and all of a sudden it's turbulence. And he didn't even come over an intercom. He goes, "Hey guys, fasten your seatbelts." All of a sudden, the aircraft does this.
Yep.
Straight down. And you hear the equipment going, whoop, whoop, pull up, whoop, whoop. I'm like, and now the words first you say it and you do it really came into effect at that point. I thought, so we finally flatten out and the pilot looks back and goes, "Sorry, we call that wind shear." And I'm like, I call that hitting my
That's it.
I call that you have pieces of the seat in your butthole.
Yeah.
I think what enabled me to be able to do this is because when Tori and I first spoke, it was so long ago. And, Tori's like, "Well, you're going to have to fly." And I'm like, I'm thinking in the back of my mind, hell, man, that's a year off. I'll just say, yeah. And then before I know it, it's like, "Hey, you're flying in 2 weeks." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." And
I'm like, "Dude, I've already purchased your aircraft ticket. It's non-refundable." But you got
you're getting on that plane, bro.
But it's
here, I'll do a little more enticing on why you should get on the plane. Josh has been generous enough after we do some dinner on Friday. You guys are going to get your own like little time in the manor to investigate on your own.
All to yourself.
Sweet. Nice.
I mean, we'll be there too to bug you.
Yeah, we'll be there.
Oh, that's going to be
that's going to be awesome.
That way you guys can familiarize yourself because you guys are going to be leading groups. That way you guys know where you're going, what happens where, and all that stuff.
That's sweet because I tell you why, Josh, you know, if you get called, hey, my house or my business is haunted, and you're going in and investigate, you're investigating differently than if you're trying to entertain a crowd. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
You know, and when I investigate like someone's house or whatever, I'm 100% old school. So that'll give me a chance to concentrate on EVPs and
real stuff
and,
is.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
We figure if you're coming all this way, then you guys get to have kind of like your own little time. And not only that, but I'm going to throw in another gem. Not only will you guys be meeting Mr. Josh Hurd and Johnny Hauser, but Richard Estep, the author, is also going to be there on the Relief Project. And he's going to be helping.
I told you, it's like Christmas.
Yeah, very cool.
So you have to get on the plane, Ernie.
Gotta do it.
I'm going. I'm not scared to get on the plane. I'm just scared I'm not getting off the plane.
Look at the bright side. If something happens, we have places we can go on.
Bad for Ernie, good for business, you know.
Hey,
I'm an optimist.
Hey, I'm a true friend to the very end, Josh. So
absolutely,
whatever way I can help your business out, man, I am in.
Absolutely, bro.
It's, you know, when the time comes and you're leading a group and you know you're like, hey, there might be a spirit here. An old friend of mine named Ernie. You might want to sit this cheeseburger on the table and see.
Thursday night, you start getting Ernie across your geoport. I told you.
Josh, I'm not trying to get rid of you, man. But
no, I got a heart out. I know. Guys, thank you again for having me. Tori, thank you so much for putting this together. I appreciate it.
Really forward to seeing.
Thank you for participating. You were actually the first venue that I secured.
I love it. I love it. It is our pleasure. We are more than happy to be a part of this. It's
Josh. We'll contact you Thursday. Yes. Seriously, when we get into town.
Definitely, boys.
And I know you got to go do your thing. So tell the rest of your crew we said what's up.
I will.
And, we'll see you on Thursday, Friday. Whenever.
Tell Nick a happy belated birthday from us.
I will. I will absolutely do that.
And
thank you for all you do.
If everybody in here wants to see Josh Hurd live, you can sign up for G Crew. Just FYI, that's what he's getting ready to go do.
Yep, he's bouncing over to G Crew, and we we're going to jump into his stream.
Yep, Tori, stay with us when Josh cuts out.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Thank you, bro. Love you. Can't wait to see you.
Bye.
All right, so you give us a list of all the venues and all the give some props to all the places, and let us know where tickets are and how to get them.
Absolutely. So I'm not actually on this screen, so you're going to see me reading from my other screen, which is my Eventbrite, because it's just easier to do that. So we have Malvern Manor that is sold out. We're going to have 30 people at our location where we're going to be. Then we have McIntyre Villa, which is in Atchison, Kansas. There is 12 out of 16 tickets taken. So there are a few tickets left for that. We have Wildwood Sanitarium, and that's in Salamanca, New York. That has 8 out of 12 tickets taken. So there's a few more tickets for that. We have the Harris Kearney House, which is in Kansas City, I believe, Missouri. There's 11 out of 12 tickets taken for that. We have the USS Salem. Yeah. This is what's surprising to me. The USS Salem, very well-known place. It is, I believe, in Quincy, Massachusetts, I believe. Yeah. There is only 12 out of 30 tickets taken. So there is a lot of tickets left for that venue.
That's where recently Jack Kenna and Carly, and I think Chris Sanders was with them. That was sometime, I think, last year, right before we were all up at Gettysburg together. That's amazing.
Yep. Hey, to any of my military brothers, got to go. Come on, guys.
And we have also, this one's surprising me as well, the Cabin on 360. There is only 6 of 40 tickets taken.
Oh, wow.
So there is over 30 tickets left.
Wow.
For that venue.
The owner of that venue was friends with us. He was on our show one night. Wow.
Yeah. Like, I'm surprised on some of these. And I think it's probably also like the area in which they live. If it's a smaller community, maybe, there's just not a lot around there. I'm not sure. However, with the Relief Project, you can go to any venue that's participating in the project. So you do not have to go to the venue that's closest to you.
Right.
So if you live in California and you've always wanted to go to the Cabin on 360, you can get your free tickets. I mean, you'll have to pay your own traveling and all of that, but you can get your tickets to go there. Wow. We have Old Lake County Jail. That is 25 out of 30 tickets taken for that one. Pennhurst, there's 29 out of 30 taken, which they're likely to be sold out. One thing that I've been running into a lot of problems is people are forgetting to fill out tickets for their guest, which leads to overbooking. So when you sign up, please make sure you fill out a ticket for your guest. You can put all of your information in there. All I need is their name on the ticket.
So the best seller at this point is Malvern?
Malvern sold out in less than 12 hours.
Oh, wow. Why do you think that is?
I don't know. There's a lot of haunted venues within that area. Like Villisca's 30 minutes from there. I think it's called the Squirrel Cage Jail that's in Council Bluffs. That's 30 minutes from there. Wow. Malvern, like on the grand scheme of things, is fairly new. It's only been operational, I believe, for that's just a Josh question, but I want to say it's like 4 years, maybe 5 years. Okay. It was recently closed. I want to say that the actual facility was closed in like 2013. So it's new for the most part.
All right, I have a question for you.
Let her finish go through the list.
I have a question for you.
Okay.
Now that Josh is gone, okay, and everybody watching or listening, you have to keep this a secret. Tori, can I bring my coffee cup to drink my coffee out of?
You absolutely can. I was gonna point it out.
It's been killing me.
I ultimately, when we had Booze and Booze, Nick Groff was on our podcast, and I ended up telling, like, I came out with it, so they're aware that I made the coffee cups.
Tell everybody what we're talking about.
For G Crew, actually, Josh was drinking out of his coffee cup, if anybody noticed when he was on here earlier. G Crew, like, I've always been like a fan of just like podcasts. A lot of people are a fan of Nick Groff. I'm also a fan of Josh Heard Everything. Malvern Manor holds a special place in my heart. I love Malvern Manor. That's the place that I've been to the most. To meet Josh in person, he is very personable. He's an amazing person, very easy to talk to. He's social. I met him for the first time at Kansas City Paracon in 2019. I think it was 2019. But anyway, so they did G Crew, and I was a fan, and it kind of got me through. COVID because they interview like all of these people, and you can see all these interviews or whatever. So I ended up making coffee cups for the G Crew because they didn't like. I just noticed that, I don't know, like, you see, like, I just believe in putting positive things out into the universe. You know what I mean? And when you appreciate people, you should let them know that. I always try to show appreciation in any way that I can, especially for my close friends. I appreciate people, and those that I'm closest to, I appreciate them. So I made coffee cups for the G Crew. And ultimately, I remember telling you that you were going to be getting a package in the mail. During that time, I mean, it was rough, like, we were talking, and it was during the thick of COVID. And I was like, oh man, Ernie, this is crazy. You were struggling with, like, just the chaos. 'Cause we also had riots and all of those things in that time because of like things that were going on in the United States at that time. So I told him, I'm like, you are going to be getting a package, and that there's stuff in there for David as well. And to please make sure that David gets his stuff. And
I sold it to him.
So, yeah, it was just kind of a token of my gratitude to kind of lift you guys up. And you guys help me, and you guys are so good to me, and you guys been so good to me. And I really appreciate our friendship. So you can show them what you got.
The energy you're putting out into the world could power a city for a year.
I know it.
So you are amazing.
And I remember, and I don't mean, I'm not trying to embarrass you, Tori.
No, you're fine.
Never do that. But when you first come to me with this concept, and you and I didn't know each other that long, and you ran it past me, and just the wheels in my head, it's a wonder you didn't hear them through the phone. That's just the way I get, man. My mind just is a million miles an hour.
You should have heard him when he called me about it. Dave, you're not going to believe this. I got the first Tori Smith. She came up with this amazing.
I told you, because in the beginning I could tell the goodness behind it, and I could tell what you wanted to accomplish, but I also could tell you were kind of like, I don't want to say scared, but unsure. And if you remember, I was like, Tori, you have nothing to worry about. And it's just those vibes I was getting, and I could hear the excitement, and I knew I was visioning. I could see what you wanted to do. And I got to be honest, as much as I knew that it was going to be a success, I never thought it would be to the point where it is now. And if you ever doubt that, keep one thing in mind to reassure yourself. Ernie is getting on a freaking airplane. Which,
I love it.
Tori, in a few weeks, I will be 52 years old. You would not believe the things I have turned down because I would have had to fly. Seriously, they have a pool going at work. They still think come Thursday morning, I'm going to bail. That's how terrified of flying I am.
I appreciate it. Like, I appreciate you guys coming. I appreciate you guys participating. And I mean, I've been on the phone with both of you guys. I'd be like, David, we're not like the streaming, like it's not working out, which ultimately also we never did figure out the streaming. So I'm going to try my hand at streaming through StreamYard. Josh has, and I talked to Josh about this too. Josh has StreamYard, and he has his YouTube, and we have the Relief Project Facebook page. So I'm going to put a link for a StreamYard in the private Facebook group that we have for the venues and like the teams. And I think I'm just going to try to run streams and just go live on Facebook from as many places that I can.
Prior to the event kicking off, we're going to do a quick episode while we're there.
I love it.
That's going to be it. So of course, you and Josh, and we're going to do an episode just like now, except we're going to be in Malvern, Iowa, with Tori and Josh live with us.
Let her finish getting through the list, and we also need to know how to get tickets.
Okay, so to get to, let me finish. We got, where did I leave off? Oh, here's another venue, Penhurst. I'm pretty sure they're sold out. It says we got 29 out of 30 taken, but I know that there's a ticket out there that I need to put on there. So they're sold out. The Vale Mansion, that is in Kansas City. That is sold out. We have Root Hall. There is 8 out of 10 tickets left 8 tickets are taken. So there's 2 left. And I can't remember off of the top of my head where these venues are located without going in, and it takes a minute, but I'm just going to run through the list. We have Wilson Castle. That is in Proctor, Vermont. I think that's where that one is. There is 18 out of 30 taken for that. We have the Russ House. That's in Florida. That's sold out. We have the Haunted Chester 1914 Jail. There is 2 out of 6 tickets taken there. So there is definitely tickets up for grabs. We have Old Lavaca County Jail. That is our only venue that's in Texas. There is 12 out of 16 taken there. So there's tickets left. We have the May Stringer House and the 1885 Brooksville Train Depot. There's, oh shoot, hold on. My computer just kind of went crazy. So the Maystringer House and the Train Depot, they are a block from each other. So you only need to sign up for one of those venues, and you will see both of them. And there's tickets left on both of them.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so there's 4 out of 10 at the Maystringer House, 3 out of 10 taken at the Train Depot. So you will get to see both of those. You only need to sign up for one venue. The Monroe House is also on this list. They're sold out. The Berlin Tannery, that is, I can't remember. It's in Wisconsin. But there is 50 tickets taken. They're sold out. There was 50 tickets total. We have Old Southern Funeral Home and Old Itala County Jail. I'm sorry if you can hear my dog whining in the background. Somebody's here and he's excited. But both of those are owned by the same people, and that is in Mississippi, I believe. I'm clicking on the venue here. I know that we're running out of time. I'm trying to hurry.
Take your time. We go as long as you want.
Let's see. We have, my computer doesn't go very fast.
Sort of like Ernie.
Let's see. It is in, I cannot ever say it. It's Kosciusko, Mississippi. Kosciusko. Locals probably know how to say that. However, I do not. But that's kind of a 2-for-1 thing as well. If you sign up for one, you'll get to see the other. They're a block apart.
Wow.
So you'll be able to see both of those. Then we have, let me get back here. Then we have the historic haunted Fleetwood Church. They're sold out. And then we have the Dillingham Lewis that is also sold out. That one's in Kansas City. So those are all the venues that we have. If you go to www.facebook.com/the Paranormal Relief Project, every venue that has tickets left is pinned to the top of the page. And there is links for those venues. So all you got to do is click the link, fill out a ticket for yourself, fill out a ticket for your guest, and you are good to go.
And to let folks know, these are free tickets to first responders. So if you're a police officer, fire, ambulance, doctor, nurse, supporting staff, any type of medical personnel, if you're military, you've been on the front lines of this pandemic. Welcome to these tickets are absolutely free. You just pay your own travel.
And also, like I said, we've already added one new location for next year's. If you're watching or listening and you have a venue and you want to participate in this amazing cause that Tori came up with, please contact one of us and we'll get you going for next year.
If you're watching this, we beg you, share this out to any of the venues. We're looking to do anything we can to fill these spots, because this is something that's like near and dear to our heart, to thank all these first responders for being on the front lines during COVID, for putting their lives in jeopardy to save ours. So like him, he's a Tacoma Park police officer. He's been on the front lines this entire time. And it's just, these folks put their lives on the line every day for us.
And I did open the inclusion group. So if you work at a hospital, it doesn't matter if you're a janitor. It doesn't matter if you're a food service worker. It doesn't matter if your registration, you qualify. So
that's good, because you can't. And that's really cool, Tori, because, you have, and I don't mean to compare. I don't mean it in this way, but, you have your doctors, and then, you have everyday working Joes that are still, what I mean, required.
They come in and clean up that ER bay once trauma's happened.
Exactly.
My mom is an ER nurse, and she's CCRN MMS prepared, so you know what all that is. But she used to work in shock trauma, University of Maryland. So I know what you guys go through. I know what the doctors go through.
And I'll give you a little example. And the reason why that I opened the inclusion group. The people that clean the rooms are housekeeping, janitors, whatever they're called at whatever facility. Right. When we have a COVID patient, it's not as simple as going in and cleaning the room.
Right.
They have to put the garb on. They put the N95 on. They have hair nets. They have the mask. They wear like a gown, and they wear like these things that go up past your knees. It's very hot. I will tell you that. Like when you're in a gown, 10 minutes in, you're sweating. Like I know, like you're sweating. You can feel sweat running down your face. You have this N95 mask that's on your face, and it's so tight that when you take it off, you have indents on your face from like the lines. I remember during the beginning of this pandemic and wearing the N95 mask that's so tight, I had bruises on my nose, and I had like irritation behind my ears. The back of my ears were raw because of the straps that were going behind our ears. But they go in and they have to spray the entire room, wall, ceiling, floor, counters, bed. They have to go under the mattress, spray the bed.
By no means, there's no job. And that's what I meant was, whether you're a doctor or you're doing that job, not one job is more important than the other.
No,
it's really not. You know what I mean?
And one job can't exist without the other.
Without the other, right?
Amen.
Exactly. That doctor can't save that life if that other person wasn't in there first doing what they have to do in order to allow that person in there.
So this project is dedicated to all these folks,
right?
To get them a free paranormal ghost hunt guy paranormal investigation. It's free. Just
for free.
Give me that website one more time, Tori.
It's www.facebook.com/The Paranormal Relief Project.
All one word, The Paranormal
And you can message that page if you have any questions. Likely it's going to be me that answers, but Jeremy York and Matt Warner from Warner Paranormal, he's going to be the one at Wilson Castle. They all have access. So, but also keep in mind that sometimes there is a delay in me answering messages. Like tonight, I'm getting ready to go to work. Venues are still waiting for their list because I've been busy. I haven't had a chance to do it, but I promise they're going to get done. But yeah, I will get back to you as soon as possible. And if you have any questions, you can ask. Mental health is also included in this inclusion group. If you are someone that does mental health screenings, if you are a counselor at a school that have a mental health degree, if you answer the 1-800 hotlines for like people that are thinking about suicide, people that talk to other people that are lonely. Mental health is a big, big thing in this. There are a lot of mental health issues right now. In particular, I have seen an influx in patients that are having mental health issues simply because they used to be drug users at one time and they're quarantined to their house. Drug users that have gotten clean, one of their main things is keeping themselves busy. They go to the gym, they go for walks, they go whatever it is that keeps the brain occupied, and they can't do any of that. So there's just a lot of things that go into the whole COVID thing. So,
well, Tori, we can't tell you enough how proud of what you've done. How proud of you we are.
How excited we are to be part of this.
This is just
incredible. There's no word to describe other than amazing and incredible. I mean, just we're beyond.
We did not doubt you in the least.
Well, I'm glad because I doubted me.
We are, Tori, Dave and I
doubted me.
Dave and I are your biggest fans.
Absolutely.
Trust me.
I love it. And thank you for all that you guys have done. Every phone call that Ernie, I don't know what's going on. I don't know if I can do this. David, the streams are not working out. I don't know what we're going to do. You're like, I got you.
I made, how many people I talked to, how many emails. Yeah. I couldn't get anybody on the hook. I mean, I kicked some doors down and they looked at me and went, get out.
Yeah. There has been a lot of that. But that's okay. So,
there's a reason and a will for everything. And, we may not understand it now, but we will.
It's gonna be amazing.
Yep.
And I'm like, Ernie, the streams aren't working out. Well, Tori, you're going to have to talk to Dave because I don't know how to do that. Dave, I talked to Ernie and the streams aren't working out.
Tori, we will see you in 4 short days.
I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I can't wait. It's going to be so much fun. You're going to make it, Ernie. It's going to be fine. Just take a couple Benadryls before you get on the plane, and you'll sleep the whole time, and it'll be fine.
I'm just cold turkey hitting it. No,
I have a tradition. I'm not a drinker, but every flight I've ever taken, I drink one Bloody Mary before I get on. Anytime I take off, I take one Bloody Mary.
I love
that's
it.
the only time I drink them.
Those are good.
They're good, and I've never crashed yet.
See, there you go, Ernie. You just need a Bloody Mary.
I'll watch Dave and drink a coffee. I'll be absolutely.
You could have one without any alcohol in it.
Yeah, that's what we'll get them.
That's tomato juice
with a celery stick and
some
spice.
Yeah, that sounds good.
I'll be all right. I'm just keeping in mind the greater cause and all the jokes that him and Porter's put me through.
Oh my God, you don't want to know what we sent him. We sent him like wheels falling off, planes flipping and rolling.
Now these are my boys, man. They, Dave's telling, I just booked a flight, for Ernie and I, and everybody knows my phobias. So, 2 minutes later, I get a airplane barrel rolling through a fence and one with the wheel falling, and I'm like, this isn't helping.
Yeah, one of the flaps coming off.
Tori, we will see you Thursday. We have a few announcements, and
love you, sweetie. Thank you for all you do.
Thank you, and I love you guys. I can't wait. Bye. And I'm going to get off here, and I am going to go to work.
All right, be safe, and thank you for all you do.
Will. Thank you so much. Bye, guys.
Bye. Nope. Oh, say that again.
I said thanks for having me. No, it's fine. It's fine. Thank you.
I have a button I could do that with.
I love it. Bye.
Yeah. Okay, now we're real.
Anyhow, real quick before we wrap up, the next two shows in 2 weeks from tonight, we're going to have Keith Bailey and Kelly Miller.
Nope.
Okay.
You're wrong.
Yeah.
The next show we're going to be doing will be at Malvern Manor.
I mean, in 2 weeks. Didn't I say in 2 weeks?
Nope, you didn't.
Our next show is going to be at Malvern Manor on May 1st.
I'm the technical geek. That's why I knew where it was.
2 weeks from tonight, we're going to have Keith Bailey and Kelly Miller.
Nice.
And 2 weeks after that, you all are going to like this. Who's one of our favorite people from the show Ghosts of Shepherdstown?
Laurie Johnson. Dana Mitchell. Sorry, something in my throat there.
We're going to have the one and only Laurie Johnson back with us on May 23rd. May 23rd. So that's in 4 weeks from tonight. I was speaking. That's why I was almost late today for this episode. I was talking to Laurie, and
I was talking to her a couple of days ago, and she's I love her.
Yeah, Laurie's a great.
She's amazing.
As far as our events, let me try not to screw this up. After we get back from Malvern, May 22nd, we have DeVille Inc.
Yep.
We have one ticket left.
Now you accounted for the one I told you, right? Hold on to. For Tony.
Yeah. We have one ticket left. However, if you want that one ticket, we'll make an exception and add another one so you can bring a guest. So technically we have 2 tickets
First
left.
one that contacts him wins.
Yeah, and that's cut off. June 5th, we will be at Fort Mifflin with New Jersey Paranormal Investigations. Yep. You can get your tickets through them. June 19th, we are back with Kelly Miller at the Samuel Miller Mansion. You can get your tickets at www.ghosttoursonlocust.com, or if you forget that, just contact Dave or I. July 17th, we will be at the historic 1912 Hoover House. It's our first public event there.
With Miss Pam and Mr. Steve.
Yes, and to get tickets, contact me, and I'll give you Pam's information. You need to call her, okay? But you got to get that from me. That's going to be, they're all going to be amazing, but that's going to be amazing because we've never investigated.
No, that's a new place.
So, you have anything else, Dave?
Other than, guys, I can hardly wait till Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday So pay attention to Step Into the Paranormal. Pay attention to Paranormal Inc. page. Pay attention to our Facebook page. We're live streaming there.
What we're going to do is when we get to the Villisca house on Friday, we'll do a live video. As best we can or whatever. But we will do an episode. We will do an episode Saturday live from Malvern before we kick off the relief project.
And then we'll do some Facebook Lives during it to show the evidence.
You want to check it. I mean, we're going to have a good crew. Like Tori was saying, Richard S. Stepp's going to be with us, and Johnny Hauser and Josh Hurd. And, we all know them and love them from G Crew with Nick and Chad. So tune in next weekend. It's going to be a fun-filled, very adventurous, because Dave and I have never been there.
Yeah, we're excited.
And
if we die, we'll never speak to you again. With that said, love you guys.
See ya.
Peace.
You've been listening to Step Into the Paranormal with Ernie Atwell and David Seiler. Thank you for listening, and listen in next week for another topic and more great guests, right here on WLFE DB Radio Network.